Hi students, I welcome you to this class on business law, and in this video we'll be looking into performance of contracts. So at the end of this video we'll be able to understand what is performance of a contract, what is a tender, and how a tender is being performed. So first we'll see what is the definition of performance of a contract. According to section 37 of the Indian Contract Act 1872, the parties to a contract must either perform or offer to perform their respective promises unless such performance is dispensed with or excused under the provisions of the Contract Act or any other law. Thus, it is the primary duty of each contracting party to either perform or offer to perform their promise. Example, A promises to deliver goods to B on a certain day on payment of rupees 1000. A expires before the contracted date. So in this case, what happens is A's representatives are bound to deliver the goods to B, and B is bound to pay rupees 1000 to A's representatives. There are two types of performance. One is the actual performance and another one is the attempted performance. So what is an actual performance? When a promisor to a contract has fulfilled his obligation in accordance with the terms of the contract, the promise is said to have been actually performed. Actual performance gives a discharge to the contract and the liability of the promisor ceases to exist. For example, A agrees to deliver 10 bags of cement at B's factory and B promises to pay the price on delivery. A delivers the cement on the due date and B makes the payment. This is actual performance. So actual performance can be of substantial performance or partial performance. In a substantial performance, the obligation agreed upon is almost completed. The court then orders that the money must be paid, but deducts the amount needed to correct minor existing defects. While in partial performance, one of the parties has performed the contract, but not completely, but the other party has shown willingness to accept the part completed. The partial performance may occur where there is shortfall on delivery of goods or where a service is not fully carried out. The other type of performance is the attempted performance. When the performance has become due, it is sometimes sufficient if the promisor offers to perform his obligation under the contract. This offer is known as attempted performance or more commonly as tender. Thus, tender is an offer of performance which of course complies with the terms of the contract. So we'll see what is a tender. Section 38 of the Indian Contract Act 1872 states that where a promisor has made an offer of performance to the promisee and the offer has not been accepted, the promisor is not responsible for non-performance of the promisee, nor does he thereby lose his rights under the contract. So here we see that where a performer has completed his performance or completed his obligation, but the promisee is not ready to complete his obligation. So in that case, the promisor is not responsible for non-performance of the promisee, or he does not lose his rights under the contract. So we will see an example here. A contracts to deliver to B 100 tons of basmati rice at his warehouse on 6th December 2020. A takes the goods to B's place on the due date during business hours, but B, without assigning any good reason, refuses to take the delivery. Here, A has performed what he was required to perform under the contract. It is a case of attempted performance, and A is not responsible for non-performance of B, nor does he thereby lose his rights under the contract. So there are two kinds of tender, tender of goods and tender of money. So when we see about tender of goods, if the goods are refused to be accepted, they need not be offered again. When we come to tender of money, If money is refused to be accepted, the debtor must always be ready and willing to pay. What are the essentials of a valid tender performance? So when a tender is being accepted by the promisee, there are certain obligations to be completed by the promisor according to the contract signed. So these are the essentials of a valid tender performance. So a tender performance must be unconditional. There should not be any other conditions apart from those mentioned in the contract. And the tender performance must be made at the proper time, should be made at the proper place, and should be made to the proper person mentioned in the contract. And also, it must be an exact amount and an legal tender. Whatever is mentioned in the contract signed between the promisor and the promisee. So, who should perform a contract? Firstly, it should be the promisor himself. Secondly, it can be a joint promisor, if any. Thirdly, it can be a promisor's agent, if in case a promisor is unable to perform the obligation by himself. And fourthly, a legal representative of a promisor in cases in which a promisor expires during the time of contract. And fifthly, a third party if required to perform a contract for the promisor. So thank you so much, students, for listening to this video. I hope this video session on performance of a contract was really helpful to you. Please do subscribe to my channel and also do share this video with your friends. Keep learning. Thank you.